Hi beer fanatics, I'm your host DJ Spiess and you're watching the first episode ever of Inside Fermentarium. Grab a beer, kick back and let's start. You're an expert on tasting wine or beer, right? That means you know all about the tongue map and how it works. If you're into wine, it's almost impossible to miss the tongue map while learning to taste wine. The basic idea of the tongue map is this. Sweet flavors are detected on the tip of your tongue, salty and sour flavors are detected on the sides of your tongue, and bitter flavors are detected in the back of your tongue. Experts will describe how each flavor should be detected as the wine or beer travels across your tongue. You might have performed an experiment similar to this with an eyedropper while in grade school. There's only one problem with this. It's crap. The tongue map is a myth. The tongue map's origins are from a mistranslated German paper written in 1901 by D.P. Hanig. The paper demonstrated 4 basic flavors with varying sensitivities on the tongue. There's actually 5 different flavors: sweet, salty, sour, bitter, and glutamates. Glutamates are less common in German foods, that's probably why it wasn't in the paper. The paper never stated specific flavors could be detected only on certain parts of the tongue. Still, the mistranslation of the tongue map myth was perpetuated in science books, magazines, and even wine classes. In 1974, Virginia Collins reproduced the test and determined that there were variations, but the differences were so small, no regions could be determined. There is no tongue map. To this day, though the myth was completely debunked in the 1970s, people describe the tongue map as a way to taste foods. There are different taste receptors on your tongue, taste buds, which can detect each flavor, but these taste receptors are evenly distributed across your tongue and parts of your mouth. Each taste bud has about 50 to 100 different receptors for every taste. So next time someone tells you about the tongue map, tell them it's a myth. Speaking of myths, when you go to college, you can learn to cure cancer, or you can do what I did, drink beer. It's a choice, but Rice University students say, hey, why can't we do both? Rice University students are genetically modifying yeast to produce resveratrol for the genetically engineered machine competition. Resveratrol is a compound found in lots of fruits and nuts, but everyone knows it as the anti-aging cure or the cancer cure found in red wine. This is the same chemical scientists believe enables the French paradox, where French people can eat foods which are heavy in fats, but unlike other nations, the French have a very low rate of heart disease. The hope is by adding resveratrol, it will allow you to get the same effects the wine gives in a beer. So the students are changing the yeast genes to produce the resveratrol in 2 steps. The yeast converts substance A into a substance B, and then substance B is converted into substance C, resveratrol. They have B to C working, and they hope to have steps A to B working before the competition. Now before you get too excited, they haven't actually produced any beer that you can drink, and it might be several years before they do. The drink they are producing now contains many other chemicals that they're using to confirm their results, but it renders the beer undrinkable. Ironically, many of the students involved are under 21, so they won't be drinking it soon anyway. Right. It's interesting to be modifying yeast to produce different compounds. One could envision a day in which the future where you could buy yeast genetically modified to produce very specific flavors, or possibly ferment a lager at very high temperatures without all the nasty off flavors. Very, very cool. Are you feeling alone in the beer world? There are several online social networking websites where you can hang out and meet with other beer or wine lovers. One such website is Illuminati for the Beer Lovers. They have a several hundred member group and they are growing steadily every day. On Illuminati, there are places you can host your own profile, post pictures of your favorite beer, and converse with other beer fanatics. There are even specialized groups within the beer group for niche groups like homebrewers or women who love beer. I totally joined the Women Who Love Beer group, but I don't look good in a dress anymore. If your taste lean more towards wine, don't worry, I've got you covered. Must Love Wine is a social network specifically for wine lovers. Like Illuminati, the site allows you to create a personal profile and socialize with other wine aficionados. For both websites, you can think of them as a MySpace for beer or wine, without the pesky teenagers, Nigerian philanthropists, or Russian brides. If you can't get enough beer articles to read, and you've read all of mine of course, here are a few other good blogs you might want to follow. Fermentedly Challenged is another Colorado beer blogger with great beer insight. If you want to check out his article on the behind the scenes of the Great American Beer Festival, as well as other great articles focusing on the craft brew industry. Monday Night Brewery is another interesting beer blog. It's about 3 guys who are making homebrew every Monday night with a homebrewer's dream of one day going pro. The question I have is, if they're brewing 5 gallons a week every week, who's drinking all that beer? So if you have a beer blog you'd like to see highlighted, drop me an email, include a picture, and a very short video. We'll host it here at the end. And with that, I'll leave you with some of the great pictures of the Great American Beer Festival. Catch you next week for another beer on Fermentarium.
Only flirting.